We're going to talk about a fragrance from a house I have never heard of. Maybe you have, but I have not. And it is supposed to be a tuxedo clone, which would be nice because I only know of two at the current moment. So strap up, get your bev, get your snacks. Let's go for that ride. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Today, from the house of Arabiyat, we have Nayel Oud. This is provided for you guys courtesy of my man Kix Griffey. Again, if you send fragrances to me, I will shout you out every episode that I review a fragrance that was provided by you. I don't care what my fans think. I'm shouting my boys out who support the channel all day, every day, and it is what it is. Okay, so Arabiyat Nayel Oud, which is supposed to be a tuxedo clone. Let's get some thoughts. I am familiar with Tarathi Brown. And what's the other one I have? Kismet from Maison Alhambra. Ballroom style, lush, boozy, vanillic, cinnamony type of DNA, just kind of soaked in booze. It just, I don't know why, but for me, it kind of reminds me of like a ballroom. You know what I'm saying? You want to smell like champagne or rum and soaked in vanillic, spiced vibes. And Tarathi Brown is probably the best representation out of that comparatively to Kismet, but Kismet is phenomenal. I'm going to keep it a stack with you. I think Kismet is awesome. It lacks a little bit of the freshness, but I like the kind of subdued, caramelized feel of the fragrance. Whereas I think Tarathi Brown just has a little bit more depth and complexity. Let's see where this one stands in the lineup. Sometimes you think you're sick of a certain DNA. You think all the clones get to a certain ballpark. And then sometimes you come across a fragrance that clones something that you're very familiar with, but they just have a different dimensionality to it, different textural components, different quality level on it. And it makes you almost reimagine the fragrance for what it should have been all along. Hopefully that's the case here. We're not going to put this to skin. I'm too familiar with this fragrance. All right. All right. So off bat to my nose, this is the first thing I thought. Because right when I smelled this, I immediately noticed like a heavy emphasis on patchouli. This like almost combined spices and patchouli earthiness that has such a standout realness and depth to the fragrance. It's an emphasis on kind of this like fresh oud patchouli in a way that I feel like other tuxedo clones have emphasized the booze. The booze is kind of the glue to the fragrance. The glue to this fragrance is kind of this patchouli oud spice. But it still smells like the other fragrances, again, with a slightly different emphasis. This feels more mature. This feels more complicated. This feels more niche quality in terms of the take because it adds a textural component. You can smell the spritz of the spices. You get this rich, earthy patchouli. Man, for a clone, I'm very shocked how high quality this patchouli accord is. Man, so yeah, just picture all the same DNA, just with a heavy emphasis on woods, spices, and like heavy amounts of patchouli. You have to be a patchouli fan. I'm a huge patchouli fan. This isn't cakey patchouli. This is spicy, earthy, fresh patchouli. But man, this just gives this fragrance cojones. And it gives it a textural component that lets the booze kind of sit in the background. It's still very much there, but it kind of sits more in the heart, I would say. Very beautiful fragrance with a good transition, at least the initial transition, you know, I mean, opening transition. Really like this. Already, I like it better than both the clones I had mentioned. I feel like this is a little bit more masculine. This is a very much more masculine take on it. Doesn't lean on the vanillic sweet. It's even got some fresh oud in there. Ooh, check out this bottle, guys. Okay, so up top, we have violet leaf and bergamot. That might be contributing to kind of just this spritz of freshness up top. Mid, we have lily of the valley, cedarwood, and rose oil. That's an interesting take. I think if you put your nose up close to it, it feels rosy, but I think out in the air, you don't really make out much rose. It does tint the sweetness of the vanilla to not feel so traditional vanilla, if that makes sense. There's a rosy tint to the vanilla, which I think is like really cool because, again, it's another component that makes this fragrance more signature than your typical vanillic renditions. In the base, we have patchouli, vanilla, amber, and oud. And let me just tell you guys right now, all of this is in the base, and it is done so masterfully. I can't tell you guys how many times when you see vanilla and amber in the base of a fragrance, that is the majority of the base from a ratio standpoint on skin. I get so much of the patchouli and oud. The amber and vanilla, surprisingly, is secondary to those two notes, which I think adds to the masculine class of this fragrance because they're tricking the mind. They're not giving you exactly what you want. And also because I think patchouli and oud are more masculine in theory, so it emphasizes more masculine accords than the vanilla and the amber, which together kind of push a fragrance more unisex, in my humble opinion. What appears to be giving off a spice accord in this, I'm honestly starting to think it is just the ambery, oudy tint on the florals, because there's a heck of a lot of florals in here that are very pungent. Rose oil, lily of the valley, violet leaf, all those fresh floral components, and it's white, pink, and purple florals here. They're warmed up by amber, and then the oud is kind of just tinging them. Yeah, you do get the rose oil as well. Wow. I'm so sorry I keep coughing, guys. I'm just getting on the tail end of getting over some sickness that's been going on for like a week. But, man, I don't want to call this a 10 out of 10, guys, but my gosh. Okay. I really like this fragrance. I think out of all the iterations of Tuxedo, I like this one the most because it pushes more masculine than unisex. I don't see women wearing this fragrance. It's got too much patchouli and oud in it. This oud is very fresh. It's more of a patchouli emphasis than oud, but it's got a oudy kind of mystery manness to it, which I think Tuxedo had. It's kind of got this boozy, edgy guy vibe to it, but still being seductively vanillic. I think the heavy emphasis on the florals, ambers, ouds, and patchoulis over the vanilla and cedar here is what makes this fragrance such a great take on this DNA. It's good, guys. I'm calling it at least a 9. At least a 9 off the bat. I borderline want to call it a 10 because in the date night category, it is just absolutely stellar. But I'm going to give you guys a conservative 9. At bare minimum, this is a 9 level fragrance. It has the quality. It has the projection. It has the Siagian performance. It's photo real. It has different components to it. It's an interesting twist on the reversal of the DNA. Again, I haven't smelled Tuxedo in a while, so I don't personally remember or recall if the Tuxedo DNA had that great balance of patchouli under the fragrance just as much as the vanillic emphasis. So I say that to say I don't know which rendition is more true to form in terms of saying how close this is to Tuxedo, because it might just be the case that Kismet and Tarathi Brown are closer than it if it's a more vanillic fragrance than kind of this real earthy spritz. But man, this is classy. It's borderline resinous how earthy it is. And this is just like the rich uncle to what Kismet and Tarathi Brown have done. I know there's some other iterations out there. I'm only speaking to what I own on my shelf. This is extremely well done. To me, it's a 10, but for the general public, guys, I'm going to call it a safe 9, like a very strong 9. Again, winter type fragrance or indoor fragrance or nighttime fragrance. It's romantic. It's date night, semi-formal, and formal. Any type of late night occasion, a theater, going out with your girl. I don't know about a concert or something like that. I guess if it was like an R&B concert or something, this would go crazy. Cigar lounge crazy. Hitting up a billiards crazy. Even just a party for all my young guys out there. If you're going to a party rocking this, you smell like you're a little bit liquored out, but you got that masculinity under you. You've got that vanilla the girls like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just checks all the boxes. It's got hair on its chest, but it still has the essence of like what I think girls would be attracted to, which is this kind of like boozy vanilla, right? But this has a different emphasis that I think puts hair on your chest in the best way possible. I'm saying a fragrance like this is probably 20 and up. Cold weather, it shines, but I think as long as you're indoors, cooler weathers, it can totally rock. Romantic, romantic and semi-formal is the sweet spot. I think a fragrance like this is like 4 to 6 sprays. You know what I'm saying? If you're moving around and you want it to really push, I would go like 5, 6 sprays. If you're trying to be conservative with it and you want it to feel a little fresher, I think 4 will easily get the job done for at least 6 hours of performance. I think overall this is like an 8 to 10 hour fragrance that will sit on clothes, sit on your pillow, etc. And I told you the alternatives that I've messed with, the accuracy and all that. This is a stellar fragrance, guys. I might have to pick up a bottle of this because I'm jealous now that my fragrances don't give me what Nayel Oud is kind of putting down with that heavy patchouli oud emphasis. Very well done, guys. Very good fragrance. Sound off in the comments and let me know if you guys have put your nose to this. Like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. Stay tuned to everything we got dropping, guys. I really, when I say we drop content every day, we drop content every single day. And a lot of times it's like 1 to 3 pieces of content every single day. So if you're into fragrance and you're into the clone inspiration category, the designer category, and in the niche category, as well as my ladies out there, I'm looking at my analytics. Ladies, I'm paying attention to you. I'm making sure that we get some ladies fragrances in here. I got over 60 of the most worn female fragrances in a bag over there, and I'm offsetting them and bringing them in. We just recently did Chanel exclusive line for women. I believe it was Gardenia. And we're going to keep just mixing it up for you ladies, because I know a lot of ladies shop here for their men, you know what I'm saying, or for their kids. But I also want to look out for the ladies and stuff you might wear for yourself. And even guys, fragrances you might want to consider for your lady with a male perspective. A lot of people wonder, why the heck would you talk about female fragrance? Well, a lot of times women want to know what the men think. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I want to give you guys some feedback there too. And we're going to keep the content new and fresh and innovative and versatile. And so if you're into that, we definitely appreciate that. And I hope you guys have a blessed week. Again, this is Nayel, Nayel, Nayel Oud from Arabiyat, Arabiyat. This is a unisex fragrance as far as how it's listed. But ladies, I'm going to be honest with you. If you like the tuxedo DNA, I would highly recommend, in terms of the inspiration category, you rock with Kismet or Tarathi Brown, because this is the most masculine take on this DNA that I have put my nose to so far. So tread lightly. I think it could still go, but I think the vanillic boozy emphasis of the other 2 fragrances would be more fitting for a woman. That's how I feel. Question is, how do you feel? But I got to keep it a stack and let you guys know my perspective, because I think a lot of people trust my nose. Anyways, this is the Scent Bubble. Hope y'all have a blessed week. And until next time, peace.